What is it?
Well, it's an electric fence. It deters animals, domestic pets and foxes, predators, from crossing into the conservation area. Because in 2011 we lost all the cygnets.
How many were there?
6. And it's widely believed that foxes took them, 5 the first night and the remaining 1 the second night. It's never been proved that it was foxes. We never saw any feathers or any evidence of a fight, and I know for a fact that the swans would have put up a massive fight.
How old were the cygnets by that time?
Well, they're only a couple of days old. We hadn't had them long. We're all swan counters, cygnet counters on the island. Nobody walks around the island without going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, counting the cygnets. And everybody's a little bit sadder when one disappears. If it was a predator, then it would have been a fox, I think. But I got a feeling they could have gone down the sluice. Once they're cut off from their parents, they've had it, you know. But we've all been happier since the electric fence has been here. Foxes are as agile as cats. You know, they can run vertically up a wall basically, and a little bit of plastic fencing wouldn't do the job. I've been told that they investigate everything with their nose first. So when they can counter the fence, the first thing they do is put their wet nose against it. And I've also been told that they've got a very keen memory, and once they've had a shock, they don't come back. That the foxes aren't here at night so often as they used to be. I have witnessed a fight. One swan, the other swan was away, in the middle of the night, protecting its nest against one fox, and the nest only had eggs at the time, and the fox was running at the swan. The swan would simply put its wings out, put its beak forward, and the fox would immediately retreat. That went on for 15 minutes before the fox gave up. It was only then that I realised that we were being overprotective of these swans, that they are quite able to look after themselves. But the cygnets could run in all directions unless they do what cygnets should do, which is to stay right next to their mother. If that happens, then fine. So the fox, you know, the swan might well get those cygnets through the summer, you know.
How many got through last year?
I think we may have got 4 through. Sometimes we lost 1 during fledging. It's quite hilarious watching them trying to fly, and but on one occasion it was a bit catastrophic. That the cygnet took off, started flying, then lost control and flew into the side of a barge, and died. We lost another cygnet, another swan, a dog, a massive dog, much to everybody's surprise, leapt into the water and actually got its teeth latched onto the swan. Its mate fought ferociously at the dog, but the dog wouldn't let go. And that was eventually the swan that was caught by the dog actually submerged and swam some 20 metres underwater before the dog let go. The Swan Sanctuary, Swan Hospital chap came and took the swan away. They told us that they put it under sedation, nurtured it and eventually released it.
What are your hopes for this year? We reckon there's 10 eggs in there.
Yeah, well, they may well all hatch. It depends. 10 eggs are the bird's got to keep them incubated for the whole period, so she's got to keep the embryos healthy. If she lays 10 eggs, she'll incubate some of them, and the most I've ever seen hatch is 8, so we might get 8. We know that food is not abundant, otherwise they wouldn't be fighting the geese so strongly. So there is competition for food. So what
do they eat?
They eat vegetation. It's not a good idea to feed them bread, especially white bread. Wholemeal bread would be the best thing to give them, and in small quantities.
So what should we be looking for now?
I would expect them to hatch towards the end of the month, maybe the beginning of May,
Do they all hatch at the same time?
Yes, that's interesting. The cygnets need to get off the nest quite quickly to feed. Probably the second day that they're born, they feed on what's left in the egg until the second day. So the swan ideally would like to get as many cygnets as possible hatched over a period of 1 or 2 days, and they'll hatch about May, and they'll be in the water the second day after they've hatched.
Will we see the actual hatching? Have you seen the hatching?
Yes. The swan doesn't. The adult swan doesn't take part in the hatching in any way. There's no assistance given. They seem to look and are bemused by the whole event. They watch intently the hatching process.
Does she move off the nest?
They move off the nest and they stand watching the events with as fascinated as we are. And the cygnet is left to do it all on his own. And the cygnet will crawl out of the egg. They'll look a bit bedraggled, a bit damp, but very soon they'll fluff up and become those delightful little cygnets that everybody loves. They'll disappear inside the mother's feathers then, and the feather can actually swim with all the cygnets inside her feathers on her back. And in fact, they try very hard on their first 1 or 2 swims to get in the feathers, but the mother will be reluctant to take them in the feathers because the mother wants them to be self-sufficient as soon as possible. So she will, with her beak, will push them away and get them swimming, and then she'll teach them how to feed.